Howdy, I'm Sammy, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my home. It's not just an ordinary house, but a real Texas ranch for kids who have no real home of their own. We're all mighty proud of it. It's America's first boys' ranch, located 40 miles northwest of Amarillo, Texas, on the banks of the Canadian River, on the site of the famous old Wild West town of Tascosa. Years ago, Tascosa died and became a famous ghost town, but it came to life in 1939 when Cal Farley, a successful businessman and a swell guy, started America's first boys' ranch for kids like me. There are almost 200 boys at the ranch now, and since it started, nearly 1,000 boys from every state in the nation and 7 foreign countries have called Boys' Ranch their home. I've been at the ranch for nearly 2 years now, and if you'll pardon a little bragging, I just became one of the 22 junior staff leaders, a group of boys chosen to help in the operation and supervision of the Boys' Ranch program. Perhaps the best way to tell you about my home is to let you see just what happened to me when I came. I arrived at the Boys' Ranch depot early one morning, and 2 of the boys were there to meet me. I was a little scared and not too sure of what was happening. But from the very first, I was made to feel at home, and it wasn't long before I had a lot of new friends. But instead of me telling the story, suppose you get off the train with me.
In the Texas Panhandle north of Amarillo, a new kind of community has grown up on the site of old Tascosa. Before the turn of the century, Tascosa was a bristling cow town, the capital of the Panhandle Plains country. For cowhands weary of the trail, Tascosa stood out like an oasis in a desert. Today, Boys' Ranch occupies the site of old Tascosa. New boys, 800 of them since the founding of Boys' Ranch in 1938, have come to the ranch and found a home there, something they failed somehow to do elsewhere. The new boy comes to the ranch tough and cynical. More often than not, he's undernourished and scantily clothed. The treatment is the same for all the boys, from the reception at the train to the 11-mile horseback ride from the station to ranch headquarters. Boot Hill Cemetery on the Boys' Ranch grounds is a grim reminder of the historic background of the location of the ranch. In this picturesque and storied country, where the gentle waters of the winding Canadian River cuts a path through windswept fields of mesquite and cottonwood, and where the howling of the coyote is the lonesome music of the night, the boys lead an open-air life that brings out the best in them. The ranch has its own non-denominational church where services are held each Sunday. Original building on the site wherein Boys' Ranch was established 15 years ago is the old Tascosa Rock Courthouse, once the headquarters for government for 18 counties. First step in the new boys' orientation at Boys' Ranch is a meeting with the founder of the ranch, Cal Farley, whose homespun philosophy is, give a boy a happy home, some affection, enough to eat, and plenty of work, and he'll do all right. Often the boy's faith in society has been cracked before he comes to Boys' Ranch. Farley knows the story before he hears it. No home, no one to care for him, and perhaps a narrow escape from reform school. The boy doesn't care to be preached to. He's told what's expected of him, and that he's as good, though no better, than anybody else around the ranch. And as a parting message, Farley tells him, if you've been in any more trouble than I was when I was a kid, you must have developed something new. Sometimes a boy who's been considered a toughie all his life actually carries a severe case of inferiority complex. And the first step in getting his chin off his chest is replacing his worn-out clothing with something he's not ashamed of. The ranch itself is not sponsored by any group in particular. Instead, thousands of private citizens and institutions play a part in assisting the work carried on at the ranch. From the minute the boy gets his suit of clothes, the kind he likes, from the toe of his boot to the crown of his cowboy hat, he begins to realize that here is a place where he may regain lost confidence. Oftentimes, the only belonging carried by the boy when he arrives at Boy's Ranch is a dog. Sometimes it takes a while for the boy to become acquainted with the rules and regulations governing the 1,400-acre ranch. In this case, Sammy has nothing to worry about, for boys who have pets are encouraged to keep and care for them. The boys themselves do the bulk of governing and disciplining at the ranch. Elections are held every 6 months for staff officers in various age groups who have a voice in ranch policy. For pets who have served the boys well during their stay at Boy's Ranch, a special boot hill for dogs has been set aside and cared for. Sooner or later, the boy's prime interest centers on the horse, and there are dozens of good riding horses on the ranch. The horses are from some of the more famous Texas ranches, given the ranch by men who believe in what the ranch is accomplishing. At the Will Rogers Arena on the ranch, the boys engage in trick riding that would do credit to Western motion picture stuntmen. It matters none at all to the boy if anyone is watching. The ride is strictly for the fun of it. The boys are likely to stage a rodeo of their own any time a dozen or so of them congregate. Once a year, admission is charged at the Boys Ranch Annual Rodeo, and funds derived pay some of the costs of operating the ranch. The boys learn some lessons about life in the rodeo, among them the fact that overconfidence can be disastrous. Still, there's the urge to learn, and it's not uncommon to find new boys who have misconceptions on how best to wrestle a calf. A school is maintained through the 12th grade, and attendance is compulsory. Boys who complete the 12 grades may attend the college of their choice, with part of their expenses covered by ranch funds and part by money they've encouraged to save. Dozens of former Boys Ranch residents today are in college, studying everything from agriculture to law, from forestry to medicine. Recreation isn't confined to the rodeo arena. Football's a favorite too, and the boys have teams of their own. Each fall, they are given a trip by bus to see an outstanding college game. There's nothing glamorous about rising at 6 and milking the cows, but it's a sure way to get your breakfast. The boys pass clean hands inspection before they're allowed in the dining hall. They applaud loudly when visitors are introduced and quietly say grace over their meals. Through the mail, they keep in touch with whatever home they had before they came. Meals are prepared by the boys under supervision of an adult. The boys receive pay for the duties they perform, and out of these funds they pay for their keep and usually have a few dollars left for savings and entertainment. A great deal of the food required is grown by the boys. They're adept at butchering cattle and maintaining the herd of cows that supply the milk needs at the ranch. There's work for everyone. More than 700 acres are devoted to farm crops, and much of that is irrigated. Money the boys make doing the various chores is kept safe for them in a special Boys Ranch Bank, and the ranch also maintains its own United States Post Office. Here at Old Tascosa, the boys for the first time find a sense of belonging, a feeling of pride in buildings they live in, and a boy whose hands are busy tending the animals on the ranch has little time for mischief. Life out in the sun makes for fast recovery for boys who come to the ranch with infirmities. This youngster, crippled by polio, found the urge to walk again through his friendship with a pet goat. Doctors say he again will walk normally after one more operation. Breaking horses that haven't become accustomed to riding offers a challenge to the boys. And riding a bull that wasn't meant to be ridden offers more sport than hopping a freight car. The boys retain the ruggedness they've known all their lives. Even the minister must submit to a tossing into the lake. The old swimming hole has lost none of its charm for the young ranch hands. Group singing is popular with the boys, but probably not so popular as listening to one of their buddies sing their favorite song of the range with guitar accompaniment. A few years ago, when a Hollywood motion picture company filmed the story of the ranch, the director marveled at the talent available. Boys come from varied geographical backgrounds, but soon they're all real Texans. As an example, here's Valdis Kubins of Riga, Latvia, Bobby Price of Missouri, Steve Gannis from Germany, Kenneth Quiggins from Dumas, and Dennis Allen from Wichita, Kansas. Boys Ranch is not a laboratory to test fine-spun theories, but just what its name implies, a ranch for boys. Its neat buildings and its well-kept grounds have become the home for underprivileged boys who've had no home of their own, no mother's affection, no one they could call dad. Cal Farley says that the wildest coats make the best horses if properly trained. Farley looks to the day when the ranch can be expanded to care for still more boys. In the meantime, 200 boys are finding a future once more, thanks to a bit of Texas called Boys Ranch.
Hi there. Sammy has just shown you the life of a boy as he enters Boys Ranch and during his stay there. I'm Earl Smith, and I'm here to sort of complete the story as I represent the graduates of the ranch. I spent nearly 6 years at America's first Boys Ranch, and it was the only real home I ever knew. Not only was I given a chance to finish high school, but was given the opportunity to go on to Texas A&M College, where I received my Bachelor of Science degree. I'm back at the ranch now, fulfilling a dream that I've had for many, many years. I'm a member of the staff, filling in with the athletic program and wherever else I'm needed. I only hope that in some small way I can repay a little part of what I received when I was a Boys Ranch cowhand. Maybe I, too, can help Cal Farley provide a shirt tail for another boy to hang on to. And by the way, if you're ever near Amarillo, drop in and see us, will you? You'll be more than welcome.